here we are in my backyard, and we're going to go into 3 hives today that are pretty weak. They were hit by a bear in the spring, and they've just never recovered. So what we're probably going to do today is we're going to go into the hives and combine them, because one strong hive is going to be much better than 3 weak hives. So if you'd like to join me, please stay tuned, and we'll go into these 3 hives. All right. This is the stronger hive, I believe. So we're just going to smoke it a little bit. And we'll take a look inside. This smoke is great because it really calms the bees, actually. So that's what we're using it for. This rock is here for ventilation to hold up the cover a little bit. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so we're going to go into the top cover, or the inner cover rather, here, and check things out a little bit. Looks like we've got a good number of bees, but not as large as we'd like to see. But what I want to find out is if we have a queen. If we have a queen, we may use this as the mother hive and add the other hive bodies to this one here. All depends on what we find. Just want to make sure that we have some brood and that we have a queen in here, and then we'll start adding. Get some honey. Not much else, just some honey. There she is. This is the queen right here, and I'm actually going to mark her so that we can find her a little bit easier. So I need to keep an eye on her and get her into this little container that I have here. Before she decides to go someplace else. Okay, so we've got her inside this container. So this container holds her, and what we'll do is we'll put a little mark on her so it's easier to find her. I want her to flip over so we can get this mark on her back. Okay, so the mark is on her back. Try to make sure that it's not on her, like on her, her wings or anyplace else, because that would be damaging for her. So we're letting her dry a little bit. But the good thing is that we know that she's in here, and now I want to find out if we have any eggs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put her to the side here. If she happens to come out, that's totally fine, because this is her crew here anyway. But what I really want to see is if she is laying eggs, and I'm sure she is. And by doing this with her out of there, we know that we're not going to harm the queen. So give them a little bit of smoke to calm them. And there we do. We have eggs. We actually have capped brood. I don't see any young eggs. What I do see is what I believe might be some chalk brood, but okay. So anyway, but I do see some eggs in here. I'm going to look at one more frame just to see what we see. It's kind of a spotty pattern, which is not exactly what I want. So what we may do is we may go into the other hives just to see what's going on too. Here's a frame that's a medium frame that got put in here just because we probably only had that, and again, no eggs. She may have eggs in this other hive body. But I don't really see, she's got a lot of capped brood, but not a lot of young eggs. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to close this over a little bit. Now you can see the funny thing that they do, it's kind of heavy, but what they've done is they've gotten right around the queen because they can smell her. So all of the bees in this hive are gathering around her to keep her nice and warm and keep her going there. All right, so we're going to go over to the other hive. I think she's fine right now. And we're going to see what we can find in the other hives. So in these hives here, these were the weaker hives, but you never know. We might have a better queen in there. So we're just going to take a look, see what we can find, and see what we can save. I can almost tell that this one's a little bit healthier just to begin with. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to now find this queen, who has probably moved over to the other side or back into the hive. But let's just take a look. We know there was a queen. Now it's just a matter of finding her again. If she was smart, she went back down into the hive. Nope, there she is. Okay, she probably went over to the other side and then came back over. Okay, so what we want her to do is to come back up without the workers. No. One more try. Come on up. Okay, so she's up in there now. So I'm going to get the marker again, mark her. This has become more of a marking video than a combining your hive video. But we're going to find her, try to get her to turn over. There we go. Okay. Okay, so right on the back of her thorax, we made a little mark. Oh, and she's come out already. Okay. So she's on my finger right now. There she is, climbing up my glove, and she's into the hive. Now hopefully she'll dry a little bit before she goes back into the hive. So we're going to hold this frame. Makes it a little bit easier to see her. And there she is, right there. You can see her by that yellow dot. So they're going to go and tend to her. They're going to try to figure out what's going on with her. Going to clean her off a little bit. We're going to close this hive up because, you know, she's really not doing that badly. And we're going to leave this hive. We may even put another hive body on top of this. So a hive body is another box. These guys are fine in this one. Funny how things change as you're going in, because you just never know what you're going to find. Plastic is not my preference, but that's what we've got, and that's what we're using. Okay, so we'll just close this hive up. Put the brick up on top, just for a little bit of ventilation. Oh, and we're going to add another box. So let me do that while we're doing this here. These are all plastic frames. Again, not my favorite, but that is what we have. So we'll put these on and we will hope for the best. And with this, I don't think we're going to vent this time because they've got all that space up there. I think we'll be fine. So in the next hive, we're going to smoke the front again. Smoke the underneath the cover and see what's going on here. Now here it seems like there's quite a few bees on this one too. Let's see what's going on. This does look a little weaker. You could just tell that this hive was healthy. That's probably the healthiest hive of all of them. So what we'll do is we'll maybe combine the weakest hives that we have. So let's see what's going on here. Maybe that we just keep all the hives just the same way that they are. Now the reason that I'm smoking my arm is that I did get a little sting. So nothing to worry about, just one of those bees, those guard bees, were out deciding that it needed to protect the hive. And that's what all these little guys are around here too. So a lot of times I'll just smoke around, try to lose my scent. It's a hot day so they can smell me. Not because I stink, but just because I am human. So this one's not too bad. Again, none of these all look real healthy. But I think what we are going to do is we are going to combine these two hives here. So, yep, that's what we're going to do. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the other hive. I'm going to take some of the frames out that don't have much going on, replace them with these frames, and we're going to mix them together. These are two pretty weak hives, so I'm not really too worried about anybody not getting along. And we'll see how it goes. Now because my hands are getting a little bit wet and I'm perspiring a little bit, I'm going to change my gloves because I'm also going to be moving a lot more bees. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on some regular leather gloves. My hands are sweating like crazy. I'm going to take some leather gloves and put those on before we get started here. It's nice to have nice dry equipment on her. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this hive body back on. We're going to end up with 3 deeps. Now I did turn this around a little bit because I want to have this hole in the front. Before we had it in the back. I want to have it in the front this time. And now I'm going to take some of the frames out and see what we can do to manipulate some of these. So we're going to start with the ones on the edges. So that one's pretty empty. Not much going on in there. Again, not much going on. Just a little bit of nectar. Not a lot. And notice that we're taking them from the sides, because that's where there will be less activity. And I'm not expecting to find the queen up here because she was down below. And she doesn't want to come up here where we're doing all this activity. So the first level was pretty well set, but this second level is where we can take a few frames out of, because there wasn't really all that much going on here. And all of these bees that are on these frames will end up going right back to this hive. Okay, so we've gotten to where we've got some honey in here. So we've got 5 frames that we're working with here. So we're probably going to take the 5 nicest frames out of that other hive. And now when I say nicest, I'm looking for lots of bees and lots of brood. Okay, so I'm going to go over and take a look at some of these frames. And I'm going to smoke this hive pretty heavily because these guys don't know each other. So what we're going to try to do is mask some of the scents. Here's another frame that has a good number of bees. And I'm looking for the queen just because I don't want to bring her over, just in case I do find her. Because there is a queen in this other hive, we just don't want to bring her over to meet the other queen. And if I do have a chance to find her, I am probably going to put her in a nuke box and make another hive, but we'll check and see. This frame has some nice pollen on it. Has a little bit of honey and nectar. It looks pretty healthy. And I'm going to put this one in the nuke box. Okay. Getting there. Okay, so while I was looking, I did find a queen on this frame. I did mark her again, and we're going to put the rest of the bees right into this hive. Okay, so it looks like 2, 4, 6, 8. I need 2 frames in here, and then I'll be done. So we're going to put a frame of some honey on the edge here and some nectar. And now what we can do is we can add another top hive body on here, another deep. It's not usually what we would do, but this isn't a bad case, and I think we can probably put that in. We've got drawn comb, and so it should be fine. So I guess this is what we're going to do, is we're going to just close up this hive, and now you've seen a little bit about marking queens, you've seen a little bit about combining hives, and it's not that hard. You know, I got stung once, but it wasn't that bad, and the bees are being nice to me. So anyway, we'll finish up, and now we've got 2 hives instead of 3, and hopefully we'll make it right through the winter. All right, so we'll see you again in my backyard.